Stephen A., with all due respect, this is not about pointing the finger. Stop. What became apparent to me in this press conference is that we do not have all of the information here. And it was frustrating to me that the Celtics declined to elaborate or to give more specifics about what exactly the rule breaking was that led us to this point. So that I just wanted to get that out of the way first. But to answer your question, Molly, I think what stood out to me, I think what stood out to me is that Brad Stevens, he was upset. That's what stood out to me about what he termed rampant Twitter BS is the word that he used, that women were unfairly dragged into this within the Celtics organization. You could see that Brad Stevens was visibly upset about this. And I also found that to be gross and unnecessary, that folks were bringing in the names and the images of women that is just not a fact. That was purely speculation. And so to me, that is what stood out. But the Celtics as an organization could have done more, and short of doing more ahead of this yesterday, they could have owned that responsibility in this press conference. I understand that there were legal parameters that they had to operate within for everybody involved, and I appreciate the fact that they brought in outside counsel and did a thorough organization, and I think that that is something that was clearly necessary in this situation. But the fact that it was able to go on all day, the fact that we are sitting here debating whether somebody else should have been suspended or not, we are not here, Stephen A., to further blame women. That is not why we are here.
First of all, let me be very clear. I don't appreciate where you're going with that. I'm not blaming anybody but Ime Udoka. He deserves, the fact of the matter is, I've said he deserved to be fired if they were going to fire him. If you're not going to fire him, then don't fire him. My issue is all of this being publicized. The point that I'm trying to make is just like you're not mentioning. Excuse me. I listened to you. You're the one telling me to stop on my show. It ain't happening. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I've already said he deserves to be fired, or he deserves to be there and handle it internally and privately. If you're not going to handle it privately, if you're going to publicize it in that fashion, then obviously it provokes everybody wanting to know, okay, well, who are the parties involved? When you have Amina Smith in Boston and other women pointing out the fact that there were women who were wrongly implicated in all of this, it's a disservice to them. I didn't come out with the report about a consensual relationship. I didn't come out with the report ahead of time leaking that they were going to suspend him for the year. They did that. And my point is, considering how pervasive this kind of stuff has existed in professional sports for many years, my whole point is that, excuse me, make sure that you handle it in the same fashion it has always been handled. You could have fired him, and then we could have speculated till the cows come home, but he's gone. But to keep him there, keep him employed, but in the same breath, suspend him for a year, then also that year is indefinite. That is the issue that I have. Nobody's trying to protect Ime Udoka, and certainly nobody is trying to protect, is to excoriate the women involved or anything like that. I'm talking about how things of this matter are usually handled from an HR perspective, from an organizational perspective. That is not consistent with what we have seen throughout the years. That is the only point that I was trying to make. I'm not trying to attack anybody. And if anybody deserves to be attacked, it's Ime Udoka for putting himself in this position. I've made that very clear. I'm just talking about you got owners and everybody else. They know the kind of stuff that's going on. You didn't say anything about anybody else. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about them. They didn't say anything about everybody else all the other times this stuff has happened. But now when it comes to him, it's all over the place. That is my issue. That is my only issue.
I appreciate that clarification. And I think that getting back to Molly's initial question, that is what stood out to me from the press conference. My reaction to the press conference, and I appreciate you clarifying that, Stephen A., is that the only thing that was made clear to me in this is that we are missing a key piece of information here. That is my reaction to the press conference.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Alex. Shout out to the Elite Fleet. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can become a member of Elite Fleet. And we just seen Stephen A. Smith checking Malika Andrews because she came on this show talking wild, talking crazy, feminist talking points. And that's why there's such a disconnect nowadays between men and women, because everyone talks in so much talking points. And everyone comes from a place of being oppressed, or everyone comes from a place of being offended. Everyone comes from a place of being upset and not come from a place of understanding. She's coming on the show triggered, and she didn't even actually listen to what Stephen A. Smith said. First of all, I want to point this out before I even go on my tangent about the Boston Celtics, who were really the ones who fumbled this whole situation. It's interesting to me that Emi Udoka has pretty much just went out here and got some trains, okay, allegedly consensually. Now we're saying it might not have been consensually. Now we're saying it might not have even been that he got some trains. Maybe he was just harassing somebody. We don't know because Boston fumbled the bag. But either way, it's interesting to me that we're all talking about this and no one's talking about how Brett Favre stole $5 million in welfare funds to build a stadium for his daughter. But that's neither here nor there. Let's get back to this situation. First of all, I don't know how this became a situation of protect women. We have to protect women. At the end of the day, one of the biggest people in this situation who could protect women is the woman, because she could simply come out and say, hey, listen, I'm the one that this situation is about. I refuse to give further details, but it's me. I'm the one that this situation is about. Almost like Ilbar throwing the reverse flash came and he was like, it was me, Barry. That's what she needs to say. She needs to say, it was me. I'm the one. This situation is revolving around me and Ime, and that's all the details I'm going to give. But she's not going to do that because she doesn't want her persona, her public image to be smeared, her reputation to be messed up. So she wants to remain hidden. And as long as she remains hidden, guess what? The other women in the association, the other women who are associated with the Celtics, their name's going to keep coming up because people are going to keep speculating what in the world's going on and who is it going on with. There's not going to be any protection for the other women until the Celtics or the women involved in the case, well, really the woman involved in the case because the Celtics can't do it, comes out and says it was me, which she's probably not going to do. So if we're going to have a conversation about protecting women, you need to have that conversation with that woman, okay, Mrs. Andrews, because she's the one who can mainly come out and literally just say it was me and I'm not giving any further details, and it would defeat all the people speculating about what woman it is that we're talking about in the first place. But she's not going to do that. So you want to talk about protecting women, you need to talk about that. Number two, if you want to attack anyone else, you should be attacking the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics should have got ahead of this. They should have just suspended him or fired him if that's what they were going to do. And they should have came out and said, hey, listen, he violated a team policy. Instead, they let the media run ahead of it. They let the media drop the story before they even made an action, which was a mistake. And now they're in between a rock and a hard place. Because on one hand, I understand the Celtics can't say, well, it was these women, it was this woman over here. Because then they're liable to get sued. They're legally accountable, so they can't say anything. But again, speculation is going to continue to run rampant until somebody says something again. Initially, it was supposed to be he had a consensual relationship with someone in the building. All right. Now they're saying it might have been non-consensual. Now we just don't know what the heck's going on, but it still revolves another woman in the building. We have no details. The Celtics can't say anything. Their hands are tied, but the media has the story. Everyone has the story. So now everyone's running around making their speculations. It's very hard to protect a woman in a situation like that. It's hard to protect the other women in a situation like that. Because until it comes out who we're talking about, the media is going to be the media, and they're going to run with it, and they're going to make up stories, and they're going to do what they got to do for clicks and views at the end of the day. So the Boston Celtics are the one who really fumbled this bag. They really should have just fired the man, to be honest with you. I don't want to see him get fired, but that probably would have been the best thing to do, because you fire him, you say he violated team policy, at least he's out of the building. But you suspended him, which means you have to deal with this situation all the way until he comes back and goes back to work. We have no idea how long this is going to drag. We have no idea how long this is going to go on. Okay, so the Boston Celtics fumbled this bag as well. But for her to come onto that man's show, one, try to overtalk that man, that's why he had to go Kevin Samuels on and say, You're not going to overtalk me on my platform, on my show, that I allowed you to come on and give your point of view on, okay? And be all charged up and be all emotional talking about, we must protect women. No, the woman needs to protect the women. I repeat, the woman needs to protect the women, because at the end of the day, in my opinion right now, she's being selfish, because we don't have to know what happened. We don't have to know if it was consensual or not, whatever the case may be, but by her choosing to keep her identity hidden, by her choosing to protect her reputation, she's simultaneously ruining the reputation of every other woman in our organization as people continue to speculate, well, what the heck happened and who the heck was the one who did it. At the end of the day, whatever woman was involved, unless it was non-consensual, and I'll put it out there, unless it was non-consensual, it's not like we're talking about a child here. We're talking about a grown adult woman, okay, who made a grown adult decision, again, assuming it was consensual, to mess around with a man who she knew was engaged. Who she knew, she signed the same workplace policy that he signed. They both signed the same workplace policy. So she knew what was up. And she still chose to mess with this man anyway. So why are we protecting her in the first place? She's literally being a suicide bomber, which is, you're a member of this channel, you already know what that is. But basically, she's allowing all the women in the organization to catch shots, catch bullets, catch shock waves, okay? Get unnecessary hate and shade, because she doesn't just want to come out and say, hey, this is my case, this is my situation, and that's all the details that I'm giving you guys. She can even have her lawyer make a statement, say, hey, this is my client, this is the situation, and that's all we're ready to do at the time. But she does not want to do that, because she wants to stay out of the limelight for as long as humanly possible, and that's fine. She has the right to do that, but at the end of the day, it's a woman causing other women to be unprotected, because this woman won't step up and pull her big girl panties up, just like she pushed her big girl panties down when she was doing whatever she was doing with Ime Doku, again, assuming it was consensual. She pulled the big girl panties down, so now she needs to pull the big girl panties up and say, it was me. It was me, everybody. This is my situation, and that's all I want to say. But she's not going to say that. So instead of attacking men for talking about it, instead of attacking men for giving their opinions about it, why don't we tell the woman to hold herself accountable to free the other women? But we're not going to do that, because we know accountability is something that modern women, more than any other time, okay, they've always liked accountability, but especially today, they just don't want to do. They just want to say, it was men. The men's did it. Da-da-da. No. In this situation, the number one way for this to go away from all the other women and be focused on one woman is for that one woman to say, it was me. Alright? But if she chooses to protect herself by being quiet, again, that's fine, that's her right. But so long as she does that, it's not going to go away. The speculation is going to continue, and the other women are going to remain unprotected. But the ridiculous attacks on any men with an opinion on the situation solely for being a man makes absolutely no sense, especially when no one's attacking this woman for not stepping up and protecting the other women by saying, hey, it was me. You can say it wasn't Allison. You can say it wasn't the VP. You can keep listing the women that it wasn't. All that's going to do is narrow down the list of who it might have been. They're just going to go to the next woman. They're just going to go to the next woman. At the end of the day, it's not going to go away until the woman says it was me. Alright, so the Celtics are the number one to blame because they fumbled this entire situation by not being out ahead of it. And the woman is the second one to blame because she doesn't want to pull her big girl panties up and just say, it was me, this is my situation, I'm going to deal with it. No further details outside of that. So since neither thing is happening here, okay, there's going to continue to be speculation. The other women are not going to be protected. No, it's not Stephen A's fault. No, it's not Kendrick Perkins' fault. No, it's not any man's fault. Okay? It's Ime's fault for making the decision in the first place. It's her fault, okay, for not coming out to protect the other women for no other reason to protect the other women. It's the Celtics' fault for letting this leak and not being ahead of it. Number one is Ime, okay? Number two is the Celtics. Number three is the women. But it is not men's fault, nor is it anybody else's fault who's just reported in the media. You have so many women nowadays who are just hurt and they get triggered by anything and any situation they get, any chance they get to lash out at men and do some gender politics stuff and go, yeah, they take it. So if anyone's going to be blamed for why the other women in the organization are protected, you start with Ime for making a dumb decision. Then you go to Boston for not being ahead of it. Then you go to the woman for not putting on her big girl panties and just telling everyone, I'm the one who's involved and that's all the details I'm going to give you. Because again, until she says that, people are going to continue to speculate on who they're talking about and what happened. The only way to stop them would be for someone to say, it was me. And again, she doesn't have to say that, but as long as she's not saying that, then we can't talk anything to men about not protecting women, because it's the woman who's not protecting the women. That's my thoughts on that. This case is getting way out of proportion. None of it is even making any sense at this point. At this point, I'm thinking he really slept with somebody higher up, and it's just making it seem like it was a subordinate, because I don't understand. There's too much going on. It's just a whole mess, and I don't understand why no one's talking about Brett Favre. Brett Favre gets to skate freely while we're all talking about this, and he literally stole state funds. And I'm a Packers fan saying this, so it's no bias. I'm just keeping it real. Either way, that's my opinions on that. I don't know how it became a feminist issue, but this is why modern men and women tend to not be able to communicate, because everything becomes us versus them. And it's never just looking at the situation for what it is. It's, now I'm going to attack you because me woman, or now I'm going to attack you because me man. There's no balance. There's no real discord. There's no real analyzation. It's just emotions. It's just feelings. It's just a pump up of a fake gender war. That type of stuff has to stop. Somebody's got to slow down and apply some logic to the situation. Either way, that's my opinions on it. I'm Alex, and I am out. Peace.